Hey, good morning, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital. This is the Creativity 202 check in for June 25th, 2023. Good to see everybody. Let's start with a quick check in. Kyun, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing good. Having a hot spell here, so it's pretty hot. But yeah, all good. I hope.
Chun Long, what's up?
Yeah, I really enjoy the best time of the year. Cool morning, hot afternoon, long daylight days, and do a lot of things. Really enjoy that. I hope.
And good morning, Jeff.
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm good. Gonna enjoy my day off today, so I'm gonna check in with you guys, and then I'm actually going back to work to eat lunch because every Sunday the firefighters have a big barbecue out there, and it's definitely the best place in town to eat.
Yeah.
I think my son and I are going to go on a motorcycle ride, and then I got to come back and do my trading work to finish getting ready for this coming week.
Yeah.
But everything's good.
Now, when you say barbecuing, are you barbecuing or are you grilling?
Well, there's probably the amount of food is insane. I
Yeah.
mean, everyone's competing to see who can provide the best. So I think the actual dish today is going to be Philly cheesesteaks. So they're actually cooked on a
Yeah.
outdoor griddle, a gas
Yeah.
griddle.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever's there is going to be good. So that's
Yeah,
why
I
we're
always get a
actually
I always get a kick out of folks, that want to go to the mat on the difference between barbecue and grilling.
right.
Say it's hot,
Yeah.
good hot food. Netflix has a new two-season uh, barbecue competition that's pretty good. It sort of gets into the uh, quasi-religious, mystical nature of barbecue among its fans and the true
I think my
believers.
definition is a little looser.
Yeah,
So if it's cooked outside, I think I call that a barbecue, which,
yeah.
the people in Memphis would hang me and the people in Texas would hang me because
And
they all
Kansas
have
City, if
very,
I'm being honest.
right. Kansas City, there you go. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. My
yeah,
problem is I like it all. I'm
yeah,
just not that
yeah.
picky.
Good hot food, even
Right.
cold. Hey, good cold barbecue.
Right.
Hot or cold, I like it all. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move us into the room and get ready for our work in progress. And here we go. Jeff.
I'll go first. I just barely this moment got prepared. So I'll just get my plate emptied out here. This lesson was good. And I've been thinking about the idea that war is one with creative energy. And I think back, 1,000 years ago, it was brute force. Whoever had the strongest, biggest force just trampled everybody. But technology has certainly changed that. So thought a lot about that. And then the idea of good strife, um, taking your internal conflict and nurturing it instead of fighting it. I've been fighting mine most of my life, and man, that just takes a lot of energy. So I think Ken has said this about 10 different ways, but I'm finally starting to see the light that it exists no matter what. So you have to make friends with it. And then the idea that the foundation of healthy strife is a strong emotional bond with the people in your creative team, which may be internal or external, in my view. Have a common cause and a shared narrative. And then if you can create that healthy state of inner tension, then you have the possibility of winning innovation. So those were the big takeaways that I had from the lesson. And I've been working for 12 days, so this is my first day off. So I spent last night until fairly late working on this stuff. And then I finished it up this morning. So I was either creative or I'm fatigued and lazy. I'll let you guys be the judge. But if I can share my screen, I'm going to just empty my bowl from some of my trading the past month.
Yeah, you should be able to share that.
Bear with me just a moment. Okay, I think, hang on just a second. Trade session in the morning. And I did add it to our, and I got to no lose plus dinner for 2. And I was just so happy about that I just froze. There are a couple of exits in here, but I just envisioned this as being a huge winning trade with 2 positions on. Didn't materialize, but I was happy to get the practice. So it's amazing how quickly I can start believing in a trade that I had no feeling about, 4 minutes ago. But that was that trade. 2 weeks ago, I had a big loss because of a mobile trading error on my order execution. And that's been a theme for me for a while now. And I just realized I just had no skills when I was interfacing with my iPhone or iPad. So the past 2 weeks, that's been my primary focus, was to, in order to succeed under the conditions that I'm trading now, I have to develop those skills. So this is actually from my iPad. And thanks to Phil Wu at AbleWay Tech, you can see that Ken's indicators come right up on my iPad. So I have the correct PSAR with the triggers on the RL10. I've got the RL30. I've got the Dragon, and I'm actually I've taken about 60 trades on my cell phone and my iPad. So I'm getting there. These 2 trades were going on at the same time. Just did them separate for practice. They moved together, these 2 symbols, so I could have just taken a double scoop in one of them. And I can look at my charts and find all kinds of things wrong with them. The PSAR flipped here and I didn't exit. I was actually sitting at no lose plus dinner for 2, and this is during my work day. So something happened and I wasn't watching, and it was either going to be no lose plus dinner for 2 or something better. Ended up with something better. And then this symbol, which is a very similar symbol, actually the PSAR held the whole way. Those are on my iPad. This one, there's 2 of them, or 2 or 3 of them here on my cell phone, because that's the place where I made the most mistakes. But actually, after working with those devices, I'm getting pretty comfortable with them. This was a trade near the end of the day. That's why it didn't last very long. Don't let the times down here fool you. This is from open to close. So that's Tesla for the whole day. So I didn't have much time in that trade. This is during the same time period. We just had a slack afternoon where I had a couple hours I could sit down at a desk and do some trading. And this is SPY. So I've also done this several times. I used to feel like, oh, I'm late to the trade. And you can see when I started watching the market, I missed the collapsing dragon. But I got right back into the 0 state, just took the next one, because I've come to believe that as long as I have my risk box, if I know what my risk is, that's almost all the trade frame I need. So I've jumped into these trends like this several times, which is either the Kata 2, I guess that's technically a Kata 2 entry short, with good results. And the trades that I plan and the ones that seem easy to take and the ones I believe in, they're the 50% that usually don't work. And the ones that I just kind of trade according to the rules, prices under the PSAR, we have a R10 wiggle, that's a Kata 2, there's my risk box, I'm in short, that one worked. This is just some of my evidence. This was a big aha moment for me. And this was on the 20th of June. So I came into this session I had some other symbols that I was watching and trading as well. But as far as SPY, I was bearish SPY. and I had my order in the market, right? I didn't take the long trade because I didn't see the risk reward back to the prior close. It was just about 1-to-1. I'm using a slightly larger risk box. So the R10 is 53 cents, the R6 is 89 cents, and I've just rounded this to $1. And I find that easy for me to compute when I'm trading multiple symbols, and also more relaxed way to manage it. I just put my stops in, and it just seems to be easier to manage a lot of the time. But I was super bearish, and I was so happy this OR3, or it's kind of a lazy OR3, triggered short, because in my mind this was going to be a 10R trade, and it didn't last very long. I exited at 1.3R, and then I had a cell phone error right here, so there's a minus 0.2, and what happened is I entered the SSC, and then when I was putting my stop in on my cell phone, I didn't change the order type from mobile, because it defaults to market order. So I didn't change it to a stop. So it immediately exited my trade at minus 0.2. The big win for me is I didn't even let that bother me. I just re-entered, did it correctly. And the only reason I took the SSC entry, I was super bearish, but I thought this is going to be my best stop and reverse ever when the collapsing dragon triggers. And I had, as soon as I was filled here, I had my stop order in a double size position to exit the long at a 1R loss and enter the collapsing dragon. And in my mind, I thought this was going to be a massive trade on the short side. So I went to my briefing and came out of the briefing, and it still hadn't failed. And then it started working. And then I just decided, wow, there's 1.7R. I should probably take that, you know. So I moved my stop up and got out when price hit the PSAR. And that just goes, and the little inset on the left side of the chart is what the day ended up being, which was a very short range doji type day. And I would have never had any idea how to make money on a day like that until I came back and really paid attention to what Ken's talking about. And then I took Phil and Griff's course, which gave me the discipline to take this trade, because it's a trade that you always take. And I can't say that I always have the discipline to do that. That's a work in progress. But on this day, I actually showed up. This is from this week. So Ernie and I decided to share symbols. So we framed up 2 swing trades, and Marathon Oil was my swing trade that I framed. And I framed it in both directions. It was really highly compressed. And I told him that I would be short at 23.24. I think that was the number. But right there where that 1 is, where the orange dot is, I missed my trade that I framed because I didn't have an order in the market. It gapped down. By the time I saw it, it had moved an R or more. So that was kind of frustrating. But the win is I got back into the zero state. As soon as I saw the P1 and the RL, the price was above the RL 30. I took a 1, 2, 3 entry and set my stop below the swing low of the RL 30 because it was so close, and came within, I thought I got stopped out of this trade. I came within 1 cent of getting stopped out of it. It actually worked quite well. I held that for 2 days. So that's Tuesday morning until Wednesday afternoon. And I wanted this thing to work on the long side for some reason. And it worked for a while. I exited. Big gap down. So here's my bias. It worked yesterday. It should work again today. I take the 1, 2, 3 entry just like yesterday. And I take a minus 0.7R loss, which was where my initial stop was set. I should have been out at 0.5. The trade was invalidated when the low of day was broken. So that was a mistake. And then still believing on the long side, I took the SSC again and held it for 4 hours or something and ended up with 0.2. The risk box changed, though, you can see, because of the volatility of the open. So normally I will change my risk box from time to time, but not during the same session. So this is Ernie's trade that he shared with me. So we agreed to watch each other's trade. We didn't commit to trading them, but I traded this in a very small size just for the learning that I could get out of it. And the blue line is Tuesday morning on this chart. So this big sell-off was Friday. I think it was a Godzilla trade on the list. This was the open. I was trading it on a smaller time frame, and I've found that I'm getting lost on the small time frames, the 1 minute and the 3 minute chart. So this was an OR3 entry with a $5 risk, and I held it as a swing trade, or my plan was to hold it as a swing trade. So I had my stop down at the bottom of the box there, went to work, and it immediately came back against me a half an hour, but then it flipped the PSAR and looked like it was just rocketing up. So I moved my stop like I normally do up below the low of the swing low of the RL10. And then I get literally ticked out of this trade by one tick, and then it just goes up. No problem there. That happens to me at least, as many times as it works, it doesn't work. I didn't have the ability to re-enter because I was working, but the next day I watched the same trade happen and I elected not to take it. So that was a bias left over from the previous day, because the first day the trend was down, but I took the OR3 long. The second day, on this time frame, the trend is up. And I printed these on a 5 minute chart, guys, so we could see all the trades for the week. I didn't trade a 5 minute chart. I was trading a 3 minute chart. But the brilliant OR3 on day 2, I elected not to take. That would have just been a beautiful trade. And then day 3, I see what happened on day 2. And I think, I got to get back and trade Humana. So it opens up here, takes out, any stops that are above there, sells off back into the range, but it holds and it starts up again. So I get long and again, hold it, most of the day and get 0.3. And then I actually do have time and I'm watching. So I take the Kata 2 re-entry. Should have done a little better there, but I did get out with a micro win. I called that a scratch, but it was actually a tiny win. And then on day 4, elected not to trade it. So I've realized the trades that I'm electing not to take are just killing my R capture. And if I can take these crazy difficult trades that I'm trading, I should be taking these other trades as well. It's 50-50 for me anyway. This is the last trade or not the last trade, but this is yesterday. So I went into yesterday pretty much flat for the week. I think I had just over 2R for the week. And I had actually framed several trades really well after my previous experience of the week. Intel fired first and gave me 4.5R. It had actually already flipped the PSAR on the 15 minute, and this morning flipped it, long on the 30 minute. So Intel's going to be it's a really good trading stock for me. I need to trade it more. So it's going to be one of my primary symbols for this coming week as a swing candidate, and then also maybe some intraday trading. This was supposed to be my last 50 trades, so I'm kind of doing every week. I just look at the last 50 trades. I actually captured 51 last night because I was fatigued, but trade number 1's only 0.17, so it doesn't change much, but 50-50. And the win rate is 2-1 for the last, or the risk reward's 2-1 for the last 50 trades. I did have the largest losing trade I've ever had this week, at least on the intraday timeframes here at 1.33 negative. The great thing is it didn't bother me because I knew that was a possibility. It bothered me for, 2 minutes, and then I just got over it and went back to trading. So it's 50-50 for me, win rate, which is down from earlier in the month. Before I started trading on my cell phone and working out some of these specific things, I had a little better accuracy and a little better risk reward. But we ended up 50-50 and 2-1, which is good enough for me. What does all this mean? It means nothing. These are just my notes to myself. It is what it is. How should I feel about it? This comes from Ken's lesson a week or two ago. However you want to, it just doesn't matter. What should I believe about it? Believe whatever I want. Doesn't make any difference. I'm not my trades. Trading is just one of the many things I do. Yeah, I don't need to know anything about what's going to happen. Just follow price. The trades I believe in fail 50% of the time. So I need to take the rest of them. That's one of my problems, is symbol hopping. And my big message is just get over all of it and go trade better. And that's a direct quote from Ken last week, I think, which is something I'm taking forward with me. This week's trades ended up with 4.6R on 26 trades, and had my largest loser at minus 1.3. The largest winner was the Intel trade on Friday, yesterday, or day before yesterday, at 4.6. And you can see I was flat going into that day. I had just under 2R. So Friday helped me out this week. This is my summary of my coach's notes, trying to be objective and kinder to myself, which I think is fits well in this lesson. Instead of being an internal conflict in a bad way, try to make it, try to learn to live with yourself, I guess, is what I tell myself. But so my coach had lots to say about all the mistakes I made on all my charts, and I'm trading at about 85% efficient on I had 26 trades, so that's 52 executions. I forget the number of mistakes, but it came out to like 85%. But the R cost was only like 0.4 or 0.5. And it's insignificant compared to other things I need to work on, which is take those trades that I see that I'm electing not to take, because many of those are big multiple R winners. But my coach, the summary for the whole week was, I see 26 trades for 6.4R. I see that I've improved my mobile trading skills significantly in the past 2 weeks. And a big one for me is I'm not letting my desire for perfection get in the way of trading better. And this is a quote from John Wooden: do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. So I can trade the way I trade. I have evidence to prove that. I can't be perfect, but I'm just going to keep trading anyway. So my coach says, look, there's room for improvement. Now go trade better. And again, that's a direct quote from Ken. So here's, this is kind of the end of where I'm completely prepared. These are the, this is my to-do list for the rest of the day after I eat lunch. I need to cut my watch list down to the symbols that I have framed and am willing to trade. So I found that I populate my list with all kinds of things I'm interested in. I want to see what Ken swing trades are doing, and I want to, I'm interested in all these other things, and that's just a distraction and a waste of time. It makes me inefficient. I should be looking at my symbols, and I end up looking at something else. I'm going to cut those down to just the symbols that I have framed and that I'm willing to trade this week. I need to stop symbol hopping. So I'll have a trade that doesn't work out, or even one that does, and then I'm off looking for the next trade. And part of that is this watch list of shiny items that I have. I'm jumping onto another symbol when I need to just stick with the symbol that I have and just continue to trade it in both directions for the whole week. I think that'll improve my results. Don't get lost in the lower time frame charts. This is something I've identified that I get lost, looking at the 1 minute chart or the 3 minute chart when I really should be, zooming out and keeping the bigger picture in mind. And the idea that if I can take all these difficult trades that I choose, then I can take the winning ones also, so they all look the same, and my win rate's 50-50. So my goal is to not hop to another symbol, to just take that next trade on my symbol. This is the first page of my trade plan. I haven't finished the rest of it. This doesn't change much. It's been pretty static. I do look at it every week and make little tweaks, but this is my core trading plan. And then obviously I have to select my symbols, frame them up, and then choose which ones to trade in the moment. But again, my macro goals, just a note to myself, is learn to trade the short side, stop and reverse, and add positions at 2R. My plan, or the plan, is professionally manage my trading activities, prepare and execute an actionable, intelligent trade plan, document and journal everything, trade the morning session for 1 hour. This is a change this week. I've made this optional. I will do it if I want to, but I really want my focus to be on framing and executing swing trades to exploit the 5 and 10 day channel. So I want to zoom out just a little bit. I want to plan, prepare, and execute and assess like a professional. And if I'm not yet a professional trader, which I don't believe I am, I can at least act like one in the market. Instructions to myself: if the market defeats me, that's fine. I have a plan for that. I always have a stop, but I refuse to defeat myself. I'm going to show up every day and do my best. Standard work, standard patterns. I put A+ setups only. I have a tendency to front run the signals as soon as I know where my stop is. I'm really comfortable with a 1, 2, 3 entry. And as you guys saw, they work about 50% of the time, but the risk reward is good. I really want to focus on the PSAR flips. I think that'll be a lot less cognitive load. And once the trade is on, I think I'll feel much better about having multiple positions open instead of entering on the 1, 2, 3. I want to trade what I see and not what I think. It's a big problem for me. And, literally just not seeing what the chart is saying because my beliefs are in the way. And then after the day is done, when I'm marking up the chart, it looks embarrassing that I'm taking a 1, 2, 3 entry in a downtrend. And then the next day, I don't take the same trade in an uptrend. So trying to be aware of that issue within myself, be patient and execute. That's my job. Once the planning and preparing is done, my only job is just to be patient and execute. And then after that comes the assessment. When the market moves in my favor, don't cut my winners short. This is not a big problem for me. I actually have no problem holding trades for a while. But it's just a reminder to myself that that's where all of my profits come from. It's usually, a few good trades pay for all the losers. My goals for this week is to extract 10R from the market. Don't let what I can't do interfere with what I can, thanks to John Wooden. I need to relax and run it like a business. That's why I want to focus more on the PSAR flips so that I can actually trade a basket of symbols without being nervous and thinking out like I have to watch the screen every minute. And realizing that I may not be able to, I may get called off to go to work. So I want to frame at least 4 symbols and trade them for the week. I'll probably have 10 symbols framed, but I want to trade at least 4 swing trades this week. Markup, here's a new one that I added this week. I want to mark up 1 additional chart each day with all the trades that I see. It might not even be a chart that I traded, just as a learning exercise. And this is something Ken teaches and something that Luke does all the time. He's looking at other systems, so he marks up the chart every single day with all the trades just for the clarity and the learning that it holds. And so that's a new thing I want to start doing. And then these are questions that I have to answer. Why am I doing this? What is the objective? The what, when, where, and how of the whole operation. Who's in charge? What will we do? How will we know where we are during the week? How much risk can I have on at any given time? And then the opposite of that is how little risk can I take and still have a chance to succeed and meet my goal. And then I closed it with another John Wooden quote: "Success is never final, failure is never fatal, and it's courage that counts." So now my goal, my job is to listen to you guys and then go eat some good food. And then I got to come back this afternoon and frame up all my trades, pare down my watch list, and be prepared to trade tomorrow. Aho.
Well, that's how we do it. Chinlong.
Good morning. Hey, Jeff, that's a really good coaching lesson for me. Thank you. I'll start my usual way. Start with my word of last week. It's a wedge. Thank you, Ken. Give me a good one-on-one lessons. Also, thank you to everybody knows what. I think people really like that. Actually, I developed my wedge. It's a simply 10-item checklist. What I should do, I don't do. And that simple wedge improve my daily productivity. Improve my trading. So last week I take 9 30 minutes trade, only 9. So take a 2-hour gain, a total, paid my commission. So against my checklist, I made one mistake. I short Tesla, a perfect 1, 2, 3 short. Then I move my stop to no lose plus commission. So after that, the trade worked, but come back to near my stop. Now I move on to 1 minute charts. I think I don't want to get a loss. I exit right away. That is mistake. If I didn't do that, it could be about 1.5 hour winner. Also last week, I don't have any losses larger than 1 hour. Actually, my worst loss is only 0.2 hour. So for past several weeks, my major goal is, don't repeat my mistake. Don't make any loss more than 1 hour. So I achieved that. Also, I found out, last night I even dream about how to move in my stops. I think that's a good sign for me. I show my commitment. Today's lesson, I really like it. I did the exercise, try to get brief about the exercise. Exercise 1, in the lesson, there's 3 ways to the creativity 2 things. The first one, enrich your mind with competing viewpoints, nurturing conflict within yourself. What I do, I have the following thing to think. What time frame to trade? Swing trade 30 minutes or daily versus intraday 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. That's conflict in my mind. The second conflict is manager stops. I can keep my MMRB 1 hour initial stop no move versus move my stop quickly to no lose plus 42. That's a struggle for me. So the third one is, should I focus on one trick, one strategy versus diversified strategies? Should I trade stock or should I trade crypto? Should I trade gold or currencies? This is the 3 conflicting viewpoint in my mind right now. How to give that more thought, to try to do the exercise. The next thing is building stronger emotional bond with the people in your creative team. I take the Creativity 202 weekly meeting, all those good fellows as my team. Also take the accountability weekly meeting as my creativity team. I really like it. For the Creativity 202, I see people have different life story. That story is enriching my inner appearance. I see the accountability weekly, everybody write report, wins and losses, things to do. I see the different learning and trading style out of different trading appearances. I really like that. Really, really like that. The third approach is establishing a shared narrative. By finding common cause, you can set aside petty ego and harness different for ends. I take that as tutors community as a kind of community. Also, I think yesterday we had good discussion. Why can teach? Why we treat? Do we treat for money or do we treat for something else? That's my exercise 1. Exercise 2, I think about, how some Chinese people live in China see the conflict between the West and China. Their opinion much different from my opinion. I had that virtually daily conflict in our mindset. I can understand their opinion because I'm a Chinese. I, grew up in China. I see the difference because, right now I escape from that culture and the social background, live in the West. So, have to resolve that. Right now, that conflict don't bother me anymore, just see the difference. Life can be more different than that, more difficult than that. I get easy about that conflicting. But before I really take that seriously, it cost me a lot of emotional power. I will not do that anymore, just see the difference. That's today's lesson exercise. The Twitter exercise, the interesting, last year when I do that, I think I get it. Today, when I see the tweet set up, I think I get more from that. Even have why I see that the way I see it. Now, what is the number 6 means for me? Why the entry 2 at that level? I get less certain about myself and learn more from that exercise. That's the today lesson exercise. So move on to my plan for next week. I will continue use the checklist, getting on better on my trading. I expand that 10 items into 12. The first one, stop trading 1 or 3 or 5 minutes chart for this week. That's for self-discipline. Stalking only cans 30 minutes in check watch list. I used to jump around to see a lot of things. I will only stalking on that. Number 3, 2 concurrent open trade from 30 minutes swing trade strategy. So last week, my rule is I only take 1. Before I close the 1, I cannot take next. So this week I try to, expand my span of control to 2. I can have 2 open trade. Number 4, manage trade only on 30-minute charts. I may stock on 5-minute chart, but I only manage on the 30 minutes. Number 5, I do not trade weeks, short weeks or long weeks. I do not trade cryptos. Now, I used to trade those stuff a lot before, but I will not even look at that. Number 6, trading journal. I will add another one, why I didn't take a trade. For those I seriously prepared to take, but I didn't. I will add that to my trading journal. Number 7, this is the previous one, no double down, no leverage down, no lose larger than 1 hour. How to do that? I think I conquered that bad habit. I have to continue monitor myself. Number 8, review Ken's previous nightly podcast, write out swing trading plan and the rules. Last week I collect, snapshot from Ken's podcast. So what I try to do, how can apply his standard pattern, just make some snapshot, try to write out why I think I can do that, why I think can exit. I think I get a lot from that, just doing that. I think that's what can call artifact. Number 9, listen to our battle drill and RLXD flashcard. That's 2 videos I watch daily. Last week I did that all week long. Number 10, write out my list of wedges, both for live and for trading. That's it, project in progress. That's my new project in progress. Then number 11, attend Ken's nightly podcast weekdays. Saturday, attend accountability call-in. Sunday, attend creativity 202. And Thursday and Saturday and Sunday, attend the foundation Q&A. Number 12, that's a research project. Use hybrid frog box or R6 versus R3 as my 30 minutes swing trading MMRB. Right now I use R3, which is stage reach divided by 3 as my MMRB. So I think that's a little bit larger than what can use. So I will study the hybrid frog box. So how can I use that? That's my 12th checklist. Also my plan for next week, I hope.
Good.
Hey, good morning, guys. Yeah, so today's a lesson. I think that some of the points that I took out of it is the good strife, which leads to civil prosperity, versus the bad strife, which leads to civil war. I think the tension and the balance is to get these the right balance to benefit us for our creativity. I also picked up on the points about maximizing productive yield, or to enrich our minds with competing viewpoints, and building strong emotional bonds with the people in your creative team, establishing a shared narrative. And then that's, I think, is important to actually pull together all the so the people have a common vision, even though they have different outlook, I suppose. So I can get that. I didn't explore that too much in depth. The other thing I tend to be like conflict avoidance. Used to be more so than now. Now I've kind of seen the kind of constructive side of some types of conflict or having differences in approaches. So one of the things that kind of struck me was this sentence that says, to commit fully to this path, you must once again shut off logic. So it seems that logic teaches that conflict is a waste of energy. I kind of still view a lot of conflict as like that. But again, it obviously now it depends on the kind of conflict. I mean, there is good conflict and bad conflict. So what is it? So yeah, and then to increase creativity, show your inner logician, stow your inner logician, and activate your neural plotting. So it's something really for me to think about there. Then I didn't do the exercises. Well, I did think about them, but I looked at the traders exercise, and similar to Chen Long. I mean, I see a lot more. I see different things in there than what I did the last time. Interestingly, I note that there is no IL-10. It's only price really on this. They've taken away all the other things. So how I see this, and I could probably even trade this without all the indicators. Like you see the resistance point, and I think only a few months ago that I started taking notice of support and resistance. So the number one is market and resistance. I guess at number two, it looks something like a double bottom. There is a support point in there, and R is always the yellow thing is the risk box, or it could even be the yellow zone. So in here I can see if we stop it at just number 3, if we stop the time there, if you imagine all that hasn't moved, or even before, somewhere in the yellow box there is what is a conflict. It's a yellow zone. It could break up, or it could then break down. And that's something I'm learning. I mean, can when you frame up the trades, you talk about this, like when it's a sideways quiet channel, you say, oh, it could break up or it could break down. And sometimes I just get too much of a direction, no bias, and you say, okay, it's going to break up. This is what I'm going to do. But I never think about what happens if it breaks down, or vice versa. So anyway, so I think number 3 now is a kind of, there is a resistance there. It's not shown properly, but there is some resistance there, and once we break out, that would be the basis for the entry. And then I had a bit of trouble understanding why the exit 1 was, what was the kind of conditions used for exit 1, because there wasn't a dragon or anything in there. I suppose that you could have used a trailing stop of 1 risk box, something like that, and that could.
Yeah, let me interrupt and just say it was failure to break through resistance. It had 10 bars to break through. It didn't.
Okay.
The big blue resistance area.
Yep.
Failure
okay.
to follow through and lock in 1. Over.
Awesome. Okay. Add that to my to my pattern and rules. So fantastic. So that, yeah, so that so failure to break through resistance, and it came back down. I suppose, I don't know what 6 would be a higher low, again, failure to follow through on the downside, I suppose. And then it went back up, and entry 2 is very, for me, clearly now is a break of that big resistance zone, and would be a valid entry even if you didn't have if you missed the original one. This would be a good place to enter. So that, I think, is all I can say from that chart, is what I've seen now. So my reflections on this was, yeah, trading both ways. Be aware of the or take notice of that when you're in the yellow zone, things could go long or short, or break up or break down. And even when we enter a trade, it can still go the way it can work, or it can fail. So there's those 2 things. I guess since we're talking about conflict, so I need to hold that in my mind. It can work or it can fail, and not to be hung up on, even if I frame the trade, say on a short bias, not be too hung up on that. And I think that's something that I need to be working on as well. When the trade fails, then what do I do? Do I actually have a rule? Do I stop and reverse? I'm not very good at that. I don't normally stop and reverse at this in what I'm doing now. So, but I think it's something I am working on. Then, yep. So work in progress. So I can't remember when was, I think I heard 2 weeks ago. It's been kind of I'm making progress, and I think I'm definitely, you know, entering more decisively and with little anxiety. You see the pattern on this, on the valid pattern, and I'm entering as I should. I also learned that, you know, losses are part of trading. I think I mentioned this last time though, like, you know, most systems, you're gonna get 50-50 win-loss, or maybe 51-49, but it is part of the system. You know, even a 50-50 system that has positive expectancy tells me that, you know, you have losses. The thing is to manage them and keep them, you know, less than -1 R. So they're affecting me a lot less now. I used to when I get a loss, I would say, "Oh, I must have made a mistake and there's something." But now I just treat it as part of trading. I analyze them, of course, making sure that I don't make them. It wasn't a mistake. I've been taking more 30-minute trades. I think this kind of helps me because it I feel that it's not so turbocharged. It has more time, and when I put in that initial risk box, I can just kind of just leave it there and not get hung up watching it. I've been using the -0.6 R risk box, and that's been really working well. I mean, I'm literally just putting my -1 R and then moving it to -0.6 or -0.7, and then just leaving it there. And helps me because I just leave it there. I don't need to worry about it or think about it and watch the price action. Been using a watch list to identify the movers for the day, and that's been useful. Previously, I was just scanning thumbnail charts, and sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't, and sometimes it's hard to see all of them at the same time. So that's really helped me. I've written a lot of exit rules to cover situations, you know, taking inspiration from different sources, Griff Cooper, and some of you. And I thought having rules I used to think that having too many rules would confuse me. And you know, but actually it's the opposite. I think having a rule and in this that's applicable to that situation, it just feels like standard work. And I've done, you know, I don't, if I exited, I've exited. That's the rule. Done. Move on to the next one. And then of course the review is, you know, is afterwards, not during the trading day. Yeah, the other thing I took inspiration from Jeff was I had a trade is when he said today, I think that, you know, he had a trade that was open and then you went for a briefing and then you came back. I think you've said that before. Because I had these couple of weeks, I've just had so many situations where I have to leave my trade, and I used to feel really nervous about that. But the stop was in place, so it's not a trailing stop. I don't have that function. I wish I had, but at least that's managed. The risk is managed, or even the reward is managed if it's no lose plus dinner for two. So I think that's okay. Just need to work on that. And yeah, I think that's all I have for this week. Aho.
Just amazing work all around today, guys. Here's what I got going on for my little works in progress. We've got the book at the editor. My brother's working on the cover. It's got the that little image in the upper left-hand corner. We kind of like that spirit badger at rest, reflecting and working. Kind of are liking the way that shapes out. He's calling it foundational trading. I think the cover should say something about what's in the book, which is, you know, 35 years experience, 200,000 man hours of effort, learning community of practice, evidence provided, that kind of stuff. But that's a lot to fit on the cover. But that's what the content is. So we'll monkey around with that. I will probably talk about that tomorrow. I have a VTI podcast, and I'll probably just open with that and say, here's the cover, and here's what's in the book, and we're just struggling with the title. Send me your ideas. Here's what's in it. I mean, so, that should be fun. And then I'm going to hit some of the highlights of the Foundation's Q&A and the creativity too. I mean, I could just push a button and play today, and just say, hey, listen to them, from their lips to God's ears. Guys are just amazing stuff today. So I just commend you on doing the work, and this, to me, is showing clear evidence of what happens when you just keep grinding. I really strongly commend you to listen to the Foundation's Q&A. I mean, Jeff and Shenlong, I thought it was really good, and it reinforces what you were talking about, Ken. So I'm uploading that as we speak. What else we got? No, that's about everything. It just continuing to grind. We completed the second week of the Soccer Academy. I just had to share this. This was so funny. So we had a bunch of new kids show up, and they were in that tricky ages of about 11 to 13 when they're really pretty sure they know everything, And so I put them into two groups to do the ladder drills, and put one of my assistant coaches in charge of each group. One's an 11-year-old girl, the other one's a 14-year-old girl. And so I noticed everybody kind of milling around and talking, and we hadn't had the introduction, just immediately get them warming up. And I said, look, hey, let me have everybody's attention. Now, Margaret and Abby are in charge of the two groups this morning for warm-ups. Now, they don't know it, but they're being graded today for their assistant coaching credential. And one of the things that they get graded on is their ability to have you guys follow instructions and be good leaders. So if you want to help them out, then be on your best behavior and really try to show that you're paying attention. But let's just make that our secret. Don't let them know that they're being graded. That'll just be between us. And so I went on in that vein for a few more seconds until one of the new girls kind of looked at me and says, Coach, I would like to point out that they can hear everything that you're saying. And I said, no, they can't, because I put them in a cone of silence. And so make sure that you don't, we went on in that vein. And that was sort of the running joke of the day was, shh, don't let them know that they're being graded, even though they can hear you, because you're talking right in front of them. Coach is really clueless if he thinks that they can't hear. I mean, what a silly goose. So created that little memorable moment. And they played for 2.5 hours, in 89-degree heat. We're taking care of the water and shade and all that stuff too, but their motivation levels were high, and it was just really fun working with them. And so I'm acclimatized and conditioned now, so I didn't even need the nap when I got home. That was not always the case earlier this week. But 2 weeks is the, kind of like that basic training getting restarted. So we're having a lot of fun, and everything's going well with the camp. So that's everything I got for today. I'm going to hit the tones and ask you to listen for the word that bubbles to the top to help focus you for the week ahead. And here we go. Jeff.
My word is grind.
Good.
Embrace.
Chunlong.
Gratitude.
That was certification. All right, fellas, that'll move us out into coffee talk and beyond. I got to run upstairs and get rolling. Got places to go, things to do, people to see today, and always good to see you. Thanks for your hard work. Keep paying it forward, and we shall see you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. Cheers,
Thank you,
guys.
Ken.
Hey, Ken.
Yeah.
I heard you talk about your idea of the tip jar on your YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a fantastic idea, but thank God you didn't have that like 4 months ago,
Yeah.
because I would have generously donated and felt like I had done enough, and I would have missed out on all of this.
It works out that way sometimes, you know.
But I think it's a great idea, and I'm also I'm in the middle of doing your little review thing for your soccer club. So
Well, I'll tell you, I had I registered an account for both my daughters and my wife and me, because they won't do it. They want to do it, but they just won't do it. Even though my wife will play her little puzzles on her phone at the soccer match in between, and she'll do that to earn tokens for not valuable cash prizes at the casino. So while she's doing that, I'm monkeying around. I literally did at halftime 100 customer surveys at halftime in 15 minutes, and earned $100 for the team. That was the limit I could get, was four accounts and 25 customer service. So that was $100 for the team, and the moral high ground while she's monkeying around with the gold coins and all that. So yeah, I've got it down to a science where my thumbs can just bang, 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 and get her done, and it's kind of fun. It's a certain Zen polishing stones approach, I suppose, or prayer beads. Anyway, I appreciate that. That's going to help a lot. I mean, by the time we're done, we will be able to fully fund the scholarship program for the club doing that, and that's going to be amazing. So I really appreciate the support. Anyway, you take good care, guys, and we shall see you soon.